What I am about to share with you are a few examples of how anxiety plagues the mind. I'll begin with my youngest daughter, Kelsey, who unfortunately inherited my high anxiety gene. Although she does not fear academic failure like I did, she constantly struggles with intrusive thoughts that cause her to stress about the future. Kelsey will repeatedly play out different scenarios in her head, trying to resolve issues that more than likely will never occur. This leads to nervousness, exhaustion, and a lack of peace on a day-to-day basis. At night, the stillness of the house and the darkness of her bedroom increase the volume of chatter that circulates in her head. The absolute worst time for Kelsey is when she is alone. Intrusive thoughts also contribute to Kelsey's obsessive-compulsive behavior. Just before she turned 15 years old, Kelsey emotionally revealed that she was extremely uncomfortable when staying in hotels. I noticed that every time we would return to our room, she would check under the beds and in the closets to make sure there weren't any intruders. It was obvious that Kelsey was agitated until the task was complete. More than likely, I am to blame for the hotel hang-ups. I unapologetically admit that I taught my daughters at an early age to sanitize hotel door handles, light switches, remote controls, bathroom counters, toilets, and faucets as soon as we checked into our hotel room. I have always removed the comforters and placed them in the corner of the room during our stay. But Kelsey takes it to a new level by stripping all of the bedding except the fitted sheet. If there are any blemishes or what appears to be stains on the mattress, she has a mild panic attack. I've tried to explain that the fitted sheet protects her, but the idea of what could be under it continues to bother her. I've even pointed out that we purposely spend extra money to stay in nice, clean places. But this doesn't seem to ease Kelsey's mind. She insists on traveling with her own blanket, pillow slip, and towel. In the end, I guess the inconvenience of the extra baggage to accommodate her peace of mind is a small price to pay. Before I learned how to defeat anxiety, my husband's business trips would send my worry-obsessed mind into overdrive. When our daughters were young, I was financially dependent on him. Initially, I worried that he would be killed in a plane crash, but then I realized that his life insurance policy would ease the financial burden. So I changed the storyline from my husband dying to placing him in long-term hospital care hundreds of miles from home. I envisioned him being in a vegetative state, leaving me to deal with mounting medical bills. As my anxiety-warped imagination continued to concoct the worst-case scenario, the possibility that these dire circumstances could happen would drive me into a deep, troubled state of mind. Fear was a common theme in the way I would process my thoughts, and constantly preparing for the unknown was exhausting, but somehow comforting. I felt like I was in control of the situation, yet logically, this didn't make any sense. How could preparing for problems that don't exist be productive? Just before Kelsey entered high school, I came across a YouTube video that spoke both her and my language. Joyce Meyer, author of Battlefield of the Mind, listed several insightful quotes relating to worry in the video. I am hoping that by sharing a version of the quotes, it will help you or someone you know who suffers from anxiety put things into perspective. Quote number 1. Stop worrying about what could go wrong and focus on what could go right. Quote number 2. Worry doesn't empty tomorrow of its troubles. Instead, it robs today of its strength. Quote number 3. When you fill your head with worries, there isn't room for anything else. And quote number 4, which is the one that resonates with me the most. If you think too much, you might create a problem that was never there to begin with. Your imagination can fabricate situations that you would never, ever want to happen. As I continued to listen to Joyce Meyer's video clip, she shared some insightful reasons why none of us should worry. First of all, it is totally useless, as worrying about a problem never changes it or resolves it. All worry does is make us miserable. Worrying is more exhausting than a full day's work. We can spend an entire day stressing over problems, trying to figure out what to do. In the end, it's likely that we will be totally wiped out, especially if we have talked and talked and talked about our fears and concerns. Anxiety negatively affects our health, steals our joy, and is a total waste of time. If you are a spiritual person, worry is the opposite of trust and faith in God. In my opinion, Joyce Meyer is spot on in her video, and her comments not only make me feel normal, but validated. However, anxiety can still rear its ugly head throughout my daily life. So I had to learn how to tame this destructive beast. The great news is, no one has to be a slave to anxiety. It can be managed, and it can be defeated. If you want to find out how, please check out both of my podcasts, Free Your Mind and Defeating Anxiety. Thanks for listening.